The Australian Grand Prix weekend has just finished. I say just finished, it finished earlier on this morning, but I am back with Will and Ben. We're probably all ridiculously tired, but how
I'm
are we?
not. I'm good. I'm a highlight merchant this week. The duty. I hold my hands up. The duty of work and the need of sleep done me dirty. And I looked at my alarm clock and went, nah, I'm going back to bed.
Well, I'm the
Hold my
opposite.
hands up.
I'm on the opposite end of that stick. So I did stay up. I did all the graphics, the Twitter, and everything. But this is the first time we've recorded on the same day as the race since Australia last year.
Yeah.
Apart from Vegas where we did the live, but an actual recording of a pod like post race was Australia last year. So that's a bit of a coincidence. Although the other thing I would say is that in Melbourne right now it is Monday, so we are leaving it quite later into the day.
Oh my god, that means they've listened to the Trackside pod already. That's crazy.
What are you?
They're in the future.
I wish I could say I'd done the same as Ben, and I did on Saturday.
You tried.
I managed to do the Formula 2 sprint race and the F1 I managed to stay up for as well. But unfortunately, this morning I fell asleep halfway through the Formula 2 sprint race and then woke up literally just before
Honestly,
the F1 race.
Ollie, your commitment to this is shocking. You got to be doing better than that. Like, honestly, it's so disappointing.
Oh, hang on a minute. But yeah, I think that might be a good segue to get into it, me mentioning the Formula 2, because it was another brilliant weekend of action for the feeder series. But I want to talk about another feeder series first.
Yes.
I'm sure you two both know what I'm
I was
talking
going to say this first. Yeah, can we go over this? Because someone nearly, like...
Shocking display of driving, which resulted in only a 3-place grid penalty as well, mate.
Is that it?
And no penalty points.
Don't think so.
No, because this sort of crash that you're going to tell us about, right? This is career ending.
This is like
you wouldn't make Formula One now by doing something like that ever.
This is like spiteful sim racing sort of thing. It's a spiteful sim racing thing.
So, for context for the listeners and viewers, it was qualifying in Formula 3, and Alex Dunn had just, on the exit of turn 10, had accidentally pulled into the path of Nikola Solov. Dunn then pulled to the right-hand side of the track, and as they were going up towards turn 11, Nikola Solov decided to just turn into the side of Alex Dunn on the straight, causing Dunn to go and crash into the wall and therefore end the session. End his session, sorry. It's like, how can you do that? You're like, the thing that I don't get as well is, you're being televised. If it wasn't televised, it would be like, okay, you can understand maybe why he's done it, and well, you can't understand why he's done it, but it's like, you might be a bit more lenient because it's like, you're not being televised, so no one will know about this. But you're on telly and you're still doing it.
You're at a Formula One Grand Prix weekend. Grandstands, it doesn't matter if they're full or not. There's grandstands there. The F1 paddock's watching you. You want to impress more than anything. I don't get it. But Ollie, like this other guy, the guy that crashed, what did you say his name was? Dunn?
Alex Dunn, yes.
Alex Dunn. Has he come out and put anything on social media saying like, what an idiot? Like,
I need to
surely
know
he hasn't just let it slide.
What was the guy's... Because surely they would have done a media thing after and said, like, what happened, what went wrong.
The thing that I found really interesting about the feeder series this weekend is that because of all the incidents that happen on track, the safety cars, yellow flags, red flags, is that the footage, the TV footage and coverage cuts as soon as the race is finished. So the Formula 2 sprint race on the Saturday morning, as soon as the drivers cross the line, instead of going and showing them on the podium, doing interviews with them after the race, cut immediately to the F1 coverage. And it's like, well, what about us Formula 2?
Well, they didn't put anything on the F2 social medias or anything.
I'm sure they probably did, but at 2:00 in the morning, I wasn't exactly wide awake.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Right, get into the Formula 2 then. Let's see what happens.
Despicable from Solov. I don't see how he's going to... The thing is as well, he's an Alpine junior.
Not for much longer, I wouldn't think.
Three place grid penalty, no penalty points, so that is shocking. Absolutely shocking.
It's more than shocking, it's outrageous, but there's a certain organisation for you.
Yeah. Well, I'll take it. I'll take that and leave it where it is and move on to the Formula 2. Qualifying on Friday was it was bonkers, as well. I think there was 2 red flags, and the final set of running, there was only 4 minutes left, and it was just chaos. I thought Antonelli had it until right at the end. Hauger took pole position. He's doing brilliantly at the minute. I think for the sprint race, which he finished second, he made it, I think it was 3 consecutive podiums in a row. So really looking good. But yeah, there was a point where... Pardon?
Hauger won it?
No, he didn't.
Oh.
No, you're wrong. You're
wrong.
Hauger got pole on the Friday morning. But yeah, really interesting thing with that was Antonelli crossed the line. We then got a flash up saying yellow sector 2, and it was like, oh, hold on, this could make a red or cause a red flag. But because it was the end of the session and the timings had already gone over, because it was only sector 2 and all the drivers were in sector 3, they were allowed to finish their laps. So we saw it then cut to an image of Fittipaldi in the wall, and I was like, oh, okay, so Antonelli's got pole. This is brilliant. He's maybe starting to finally find some form and show all this promise and hype that we've been expecting from him. But no, Dennis Hauger just had a brilliant lap. I think he was 3 tenths quicker than Antonelli at the end. And then we move on to the sprint race on Saturday. And as I said on the TikTok, I definitely didn't just go back to bed for a little bit before doing the TikTok, because I knew that Roman Stanek was going to inherit the win. But did you see the crash at the very start of the race between Bortoleto and Marti?
It was something you'd see in like an old F1 lobby where it glitches and the cars just spin and whatever.
I'm not even joking. So I actually went back and timed it. The crash happened 4 seconds after the lights went out. If that doesn't just tell you what form the feeder series is like, then I don't know what does. It's just chaos all the time. Like when I'm doing these TikToks, I'm like, I need to stop saying the word chaos, but I don't know how else to describe it. Anything can happen all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, later on into the race, there was a moment where I think it was 10 laps from the end. I think it was the last safety car for the sprint race. There was 5 cars going into the same corner, which then resulted in Antonelli spinning, which then ended up touching the shore, and then Aaron somehow managed to find his way out of it, even though he ran onto the gravel and had a piece of Antonelli's front wing in his front wing. So it was like,
how long do we leave it until we start having a conversation about Antonelli, though? Because I'm starting to maybe question if skipping F3 was the right thing to do, because F2 is about winning. F3 is about learning the tracks that you'll be racing on. So,
yeah, I mean, I was speaking to my brother about this actually, and we both kind of said the same thing, is that the past 3 race weekends, we have seen a gradual improvement of his racecraft. And the feature race this morning, he actually did do very well in. Like, there were a few moves in the way that he was fighting with Hauger, especially at the start of the race, was really, really impressive. And it was like, okay, he might actually have that spark that we've been told about. But obviously, he came 4th in the feature race as well, after starting second, so not ideal. But he's showing glimpses. He's not a standout performer, but he is showing glimpses of how good he can be.
I was going to say as well, like you say, when do we start questioning? It's not like he's at the back of the grid every week. Do you know what I mean?
no.
He's still in the top 10.
And as well, I think one thing you got to consider, he's outperforming his teammate Ollie Beerman. Every race weekend, he's outqualified.
That's because Beerman doesn't care anymore. Beerman's not asked about F2 anymore. He's drove an F1 car this year and he got 7th. He's already
to him.
If you honestly think that Ollie Beerman isn't going to be in an F1 car next year because of his performances in F2, you're mental. He's already got a seat.
Who's the leading rookie in the championship, though? Because is it Antonelli?
No, it is Paul Aaron.
Well, there you go.
Who is second in the
Paul
championship.
Aaron. My flatmate.
Who is ex-Prema, because he was Prema in Formula 3 for 2 years, I think it was, the Estonian driver.
Yeah.
Paul Aaron.
He is doing really well. Like me, I speak to my brother a lot about the Formula Series, like especially the feeder series. Sorry, because he kind of got me into it. So kudos to him because otherwise, if it wasn't for my brother, I wouldn't be doing these segments. So thank you, Ryan.
Where's Paul Allen from?
Estonia.
How? It's the most English name possible.
Paul Aaron.
Paul
Spelled
Aaron.
ARON, like my
Paul
flatmates.
Aaron.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But yeah, no, he has been really impressive. He's been so consistent every weekend. I've been thoroughly impressed with him, and I'm excited to see what he can do, especially next year, which I presume he'll keep his seat at high tech. But I think going back to the Kimi Antonelli situation, I think it will be best if he spent another year in Formula 2. Because I think this year he's finding the ropes of it, but I think he has been put in the right series. Okay, he's not getting the results that everyone's expected him to get. But then you think, okay, if we put him in Formula 3, then he might have been absolutely tarnishing the rest of the grid.
Yeah.
So,
Apologies, by the way, if you just heard a ding. I don't know if you can hear that. But if you can't, well, if you did hear it, a little segment for me, Ollie, but that is Ryanair that have just emailed me.
oh,
And the reason I say this to the listeners or the viewers, however we decide to call it, is I am here because I changed a flight of mine to Milan. So can we please have a round of applause for Ben for the dedication to the Trackside podcast? I've been ever present since the very first episode, and I wanted to continue my streak. 29 episodes in, and the boy's still going. Sorry, because you didn't hear that, that's probably irrelevant. But
Jeff,
I didn't know if you could hear the ding as my email
I
came
thought
in.
you just pointed at somebody who walked in your room.
yeah.
So like you've just literally gone.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Who
I'm
are you
sorry.
looking
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know if you could hear it. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, getting back to the Formula 2, Roman Stanek had never been on a podium before the sprint race on Saturday morning. He came second, but then it was then changed to first after Isaac Hadjar had his win taken away from him before causing the collision at the start of the race. So just to put that into context, his first ever Formula 2 podium was a race win.
That's mental.
Right.
But so how many races have we now had? We've had 6 races. Am I right in thinking that there's been a penalty change after all 6 races?
I'm not sure if it's been after all 6 races, but there certainly has in every single race
weekend.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I mean,
that's my only downfall with motorsport is that the final result is not always the final result. Like, I just I don't like for example, to get into the Formula 1 today, you think the final result's the final result. I'll go back to sleep, wake up, and it's all changed again. It's like,
yeah. But all was not lost for Isaac Hadjar because in the feature race that happened this morning, he did actually take his first Formula 2 win. So congratulations to the young Frenchman. However, my driver of the day is not anyone that was on either of the podiums or even in the top 3 for qualifying. Before I get into that, the overall standings, as it is Maloney in first of the championship still. He's just, like as I said about Théo Pourchaire last year, he didn't win a lot of races, but he was consistent all the way throughout the season. And Maloney is constantly in that like top 6, top 5 area where you need to be, but he's also staying out of trouble, which is a real showing of a champion, in my opinion. So, congratulations to Maloney for maintaining his lead at the top of the championship, despite not getting a race win this weekend. He did actually come third in the feature race, so he got some good points. But yeah, Maloney first in the championship. Then it's Paul Aaron in second. So as a rookie, really, really good. And Dennis Hauger in third. Interestingly enough, Hauger was actually winning the feature race, but he had a massive crash, similar actually to Russell's, which we'll get onto in a minute, which made me think a lot about that corner specifically, because that's now Albon twice, both this year and last year, that have crashed at that corner, Russell that's crashed at this corner, and Hauger. There's been 3 crashes at that corner in the same weekend.
A lot of people also went off of that corner this weekend as well.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the corner necessarily, because that's 3 drivers out of like 40 odd. But I do think that where the gravel is, if that was like tarmac, Maybe it's
It'd be
considered like
worse.
a runoff. It'd be a bit different.
because people, what happens is they go across that gravel, bounce with no control, and then hit the wall. It's either that needs to happen, or they move the wall back and have it gravel as well. But it's because of that wall, because where
But
the
then
track
it all
goes like that, because where the track goes like that, the wall comes back in, and that's what keeps people out.
But at what point though do you have the discussion of like what's the point of making tracks easier for drivers? Like,
Yeah, but no, I
crashing
think
is part of the sport in a way.
I think the point that I want to allude to with that though is the fact of it's not the crash itself, because if the drivers stayed in the wall, then it's like, okay, they've crashed and they've stayed in the wall. But it's the fact that they bounce back onto the track, onto the racing line. And as well, which makes it even worse, is because there's gravel there, all the dust from the gravel gets puffed up, which, I mean, you look at the onboards from drivers following through that corner after there's been an incident there, they don't know where that stranded car is. And that's what makes it, for me, really dangerous, and what I would like to think of, they might need to change that in the future, whether that be turning it into tarmac or whether it be pushing that barrier back a bit. Obviously, we still want that thrill of they're so close to the wall, but when it's throwing cars back onto the racing line, I don't think that should be allowed.
No, it's a fair point. Fair point, Ollie.
I agree a lot.
Round off the Formula 2, I want to get on to my new part for this year, the Driver of the Week. And I could have easily given it to Roman Stanek, obviously getting his first win in the Formula 2 series, especially with it just being his first podium. However, Will, you will be very happy with this. I'm going to give it to a man who didn't finish on either of the podiums or in the top three for any of the... my brain's gone blank. Any of the races or sessions throughout the weekend. I am giving it to Victor Martins. Yeah. Now, he has had a very poor start to this season, as I said in the TikTok after qualifying. He has not got a point up until this weekend, where he did get points. And in qualifying on the Friday morning, he spun and lost his engine, qualifying 21st. So you're probably now thinking, why have you given him driver of the week? In the sprint race, he went from 21st to 7th in 23 laps. 14 positions in 23 laps. And bearing in mind, you've got to think as well, in that sprint race, the first 6 laps were under safety car. 14 positions in one race is like, okay, you've done really well. And that's his first points on the board for the year. So you're like, you know what? Fair play. You've done a good job. Can you replicate it again the next day? He did do that. He came 8th in the feature race. Obviously, the race is a bit longer, but making up 13 positions in that race as well, from 21st on the grid. And I mean, I advise everyone to go and watch his race start on the Formula 2 Twitter page. I think he overtakes 5 cars off the launch before turn 1.
Wow. I mean, 27 overtakes.
27 overtakes. Wow. Well, I mean, obviously there might have been more because...
Right, yeah, of course.
But he's made up 27 positions, which, I mean, like, I know Driver of the Weekend might be a bit of a big accolade because he didn't do anything majorly impressive in terms of gaining points, but gaining positions, 27 positions in 2 races is phenomenal.
That's incredible.
Especially for a driver that's not had a great start to the season. So my Driver of the Week this week goes to Victor Martins. Well done to him. And that is Formula 2 all wrapped up, I think.
Very well done, Ollie. Very well done. Now, I will take this into the Formula 1 segment. And the reason I will do so is because I was the one conscious at the time of the race. Now, as I woke up this morning, I thought to myself, why? Why am I doing this? Because we all know the outcome. But I was wrong! And I was so glad to be wrong.
I now
because, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, we had a Max Verstappen DNF. And he didn't win the Grand Prix! He didn't win it, Will! He didn't win it! Ollie! No, he didn't win it!
He didn't.
We have a new race winner, and it's Carlos Sainz.
Do you want to know the thing?
Unbelievable.
Do you want to know the thing that I find really, really funny? Is that I'm pretty sure, I might have to go and find this and clip it for a TikTok, but I'm pretty sure in the last episode, we were only going on about Max hasn't had a DNF since God knows how long when.
Yeah, and I sent you boys the TikTok. No, not the TikTok. Sorry, I sent you in the group chat the Jensen Button, whatever year it was, where he literally his car caught fire just before the line, and I said like along the lines, why doesn't this happen to like seems to ever happen to Verstappen? 4 laps in, bang, rear right tire's gone.
4:09 a.m. The world peaked.
No, it really did. It really did. It really did peak.
Have you guys seen the grandstand videos and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh my!
Yeah.
It's like they're celebrating Oscar Piastri winning. They just start
about the 90th winner.
90th minute winner. Yeah, they start going mental.
So get this, and I said this in the TikTok as well. Trackside Pod F1. Max Verstappen's retirement ended a 9-race winning streak and a 43-race finishing streak for the world champion, whose last retirement was Australia 2022. That was the last time that he retired, right?
Wasn't it for the same thing?
No.
Wasn't it a brake failure?
No, I thought it was engine.
It was engine. His engine was going up in things. This was the rear right. Have you seen the pit lane footage?
Yeah.
It goes bang.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But just a little bit of background.
Have you seen the aftermath? Have you seen the aftermath?
Yeah.
Wheel
tire.
It looks like it's just come out of the brake.
It's not the tyre though, is it? It's the brake duct.
It's the brake, yeah, it's the brake duct.
It's just melted.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Mental.
Unfortunately, this does mean he might now win Japan by like 2 days. But,
He's already won it.
Well, yeah, exactly. But
he's just
in Will's logic, Australia are closer to the Grand Prix than we are.
Facts.
But a little bit of context. So, if you care to listen, I found myself in a something position. No, I'm joking. The turn 1. So I'm just excited. Today's been a good day. Turn 1, Verstappen lead, and I thought, I thought to myself, here we go. Here we go. Because it's always like you need a good turn 1, really. And on lap 2, Carlos got past him, and I thought, come on, Carlos, son. Like, the Mr. Smooth operator was operating. It was unbelievable.
So the smooth operator operated after his operation.
That's cold. I'm a massive fan of that. Get that in a hashtag. That'd be quite worthy. But and of course, if those aren't aware, viewers, listeners, wherever you are,
push me off, please.
He had appendix surgery. No more than 2 weeks ago. So he missed the Jeddah Grand Prix. That's why Behrman replaced him. The guy could barely even walk. Right? Took Friday practice quite cautiously. And then he's gone and qualified on the front row in qualifying, we should mention, which is incredible, outperforming Leclerc and Perez and who else. And then he's gone and taken the lead. Even like when he's lifted his like body warmer stuff up, you can see he's got a massive bandage from where they've drilled like 3 holes into his body to get his appendix out. Unbelievable. Now the guy's winning a Formula 1 Grand Prix. Absolutely. Guy as well come out and said to Martin Brundle after, yeah, it's pretty good because I am jobless at the end of the season. Like, surely this guy needs to be picked up by one of the top teams because it's incredible.
It's very reminiscent of the Perez situation.
He's going Red Bull.
He's going to take Perez's seat in the
Red
Bull. Which, in all fairness, it wouldn't make that it wouldn't be that crazy because obviously he was a Toro Rosso driver.
Exactly. This is what I mean. He's going
F1 at the same time.
Yeah. So it could be.
Verstappen have been teammates before as well.
Yeah, but I think Fred Vasseur has taken the Ferrari weight reduction to a whole new level with removing Carlos Sainz's appendix.
What organ does the human body not need? Because we'll get rid of them. That's what we'll do.
And I love the fact that
keep your carbon fibre paint jobs, we'll do it our way.
Well,
It'll work.
This is what I find funny. Everyone's now going, all the other drivers were like, maybe I should get appendix surgery too.
You seen the video of Leclerc sprinting down the pit lane and someone's quote tweeted it with Leclerc on his way to his nearest doctor.
I think talking of things that are broken, Alex Albon's chassis.
Yeah, of course. Of course. How can we not talk about that?
Get back onto Sainz, and I think we've covered all that needs to be said about Max. It's just his right rear brake just decided to. I think the way he described it was it felt like he constantly had the handbrake on his rear right tyre.
Yeah, and one thing that surprised me most actually is that in his, media pen press conferences, I thought it'd be all alright, but I think, but the thing is, I think he just knows that I could have a broken car for the next 4 races. I'm still going to win the championship. What I mean? It's just nice.
One out of 24 races.
Exactly, but it's nice. It is actually, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's refreshing to know that it is not possible for him to now win every race. As if that could have genuinely happened.
But that is what we needed for that not to happen, though. That is the only thing we were going to have.
Well, you say that. Perez has, this is just Perez speaking. Obviously, Max.
Yeah.
Perez has come out and said that the Ferraris probably would have won just on race pace anyway.
He said that, but
Sainz title charge. I said it at the start. He's doing it.
Well, shout out to Will, by the way, for his predictions.
Imagine that for a story, by the way. Carlos Sainz wins the title the year he's getting kicked out of the car he wins said title with.
Why do you think I predicted it?
I know, but can I just
at the thought of that? They are absolutely just licking their lips. Just the amount of slobber that will be coming out of their mouth.
I'll tell you who's licking their lips. I'll tell you who is licking their lips. That's a great segue. Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's his car that won.
Yes.
That's his car. So for those who also aren't aware, Lewis Hamilton retired. He had engine failure. Pardon?
12? When that 12?
17, I thought. I don't know, wherever it was in the race, fairly early.
It was, power unit failure.
Yeah, and he retired, and it was, very, very sad to see. But he was out. To be totally honest with you, do you know what? If I'm being totally honest with you, Ollie, I wasn't really that down about it. I was more.
No, but the thing that I find funny is you're contrasting emotions of two drivers retiring. Max, you're on top of the world. Lewis, you're like, oh, I can't.
No, it's not professional. I shouldn't do it.
You're not biased at all.
No, I shouldn't. But what? I've got to be honest with you, boys. I will come out and be honest with you. He retired, and I didn't really feel anything. Because he was already like ninth. It didn't.
He said
the fact Max was out and that Carlos or anyone different was going to win, I was more content with that. So there you go. There's a story for you. Ben Barker just cares about new winners, not just Lewis Hamilton winning. There you are.
I thought you said Finney Barker then. I was like, what's she got to do with it?
No, Ben Parker. Ben Parker cares more about other people winning Grand Prix than he does Lewis Hamilton winning them. There you go, you see.
There's only been 2 Grand Prix winners in the last 43 races, so there haven't been that many.
Well, that might be the case, but George Russell as well.
Sainz is in there as well.
Also, right, hold on. We were going to talk about the Alex Albon thing, and now we're just going to whole another different...
Oh, sorry, of course.
Can I just quickly say as well? Can I just quickly say, with the whole Lewis thing, I think him retiring was probably the best thing that could have happened this weekend because he said the car was awful all weekend. I know it's no points for the team, but let's be honest, the points he was probably going to get was 2 or 1 for finishing 9th.
Well, this is the thing.
P8 you've ever seen.
They were talking up Mercedes so much going into the weekend, and they even had a really good FP3. I just don't understand this car, man, and I don't think he don't understand it either. No one in Mercedes knows what's going on. I think he's just there for vibes now. I think the more and more this season go on, the more and more his move to Ferrari is a masterstroke.
I think one thing that is really interesting, and I don't know if you two have noticed this, and I didn't actually see much noise about it on Twitter after the race. Obviously, there has now been a few tweets about it, but I thought, I've just thought of something that's absolutely mind-blowing. No one would have thought of this. The fact that every time Carlos Sainz has won a race, George Russell has not ended up finishing that race, which is really weird because obviously Silverstone in 2022, George had the incident with Zhou, Singapore last year, and then now. So
I know. Because I saw someone say if I had a nickel for every time Russell DNF'd and Sainz won, I'd have 2 nickels, and I responded saying you'd actually have 3 because of Silverstone 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, right.
Which is weird that it happened twice, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
I know, but by the way, we get on to Albon, but the Mercedes double DNF actually ended a 62 race scoring streak, and the crazy part about that is that it tied their previous best scoring streak. So isn't that weird? So they went 62 before double DNF.
It's all about numbers this weekend, isn't it?
That double DNF was
Azerbaijan 2021.
Was it 2021?
Yeah, Bottas and Hamilton.
Azerbaijan 2021. Hamilton finished. He just finished last.
No, sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to say double DNF. Non-scoring streak. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I think that last DNF I saw it.
Austria 2018.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's when the last time they had a double DNF.
So that was like 6 years ago.
Sorry. I mean, a 62 race scoring streak came to an end.
Call yourself a stat, man.
Listen, I've got plenty more stats to make up for it for the rest of this pod. Don't you worry.
Anyway, on to we can not a great segue, a really niche and bad segue. Talking more of numbers.
The biggest robbery of the weekend. Talking about Williams' back pocket being so empty that he can't afford spare parts, and Logan Sargent being favoritised by everyone in the Williams garage.
The best thing I saw was the commentator, whoever it was, go, "Happy birthday to Alex Albon," and his birthday present, Logan Sargent's chassis.
That is Alex Jakes, who commentates on the F2.
Oh, was it?
So if you want more humour like that, then just watch the F2.
He's such a good commentator. He was on the highlights of the F1, and I think the ITV commentators are really good as well. I'm trying to think who that is, but F1 have just got great commentators, really.
Well, Alex Jakes and Alex Brundle were the new Crofty and
Martin Brundle, yeah.
So we've already got that placement sorted.
Talk about though concerning it, because I put it in our group chat Saturday. So obviously there was massive speculation over that. Basically, if anyone who doesn't know, Albon binned it in the wall, and
FP1
Albon binned it in the wall, and Williams didn't have a spare chassis to replace the car because there was a hefty amount of damage at that same turn we were talking about earlier, because the way the wall you hit the wall and it flings you back across the track and you go back across again. And what they decided to do was they said, look, listen, we're playing for points here. And this is what James Vowles said. James Vowles said, look, a point or two can make a massive difference. I think a point or two is separated by, a $250,000 and $500,000 for what the teams get in terms of their budget.
Probably even more than that.
That's a point or two could separate two teams by $250,000. That is so much. And when you're in this industry at the bottom end of it, you need all the funding you can get, especially for a big name like Williams, who have been in the sport for over 50, 60 years. And it's something, and James Vowles turned around and said, everything he said is so true. He handled it with the most elegance and professionalism.
Is this the TED interview?
The TED interview, yeah, this is what I'm on about.
TED was going in at him, wasn't he?
This is what I wanted to say. This is what I was going to say. Ted, we love Ted. We think that the TED talks, everything, his trackside stuff, when he's down on the trackside, is brilliant. I did think he was a bit of a so-and-so this weekend with this interview, because with that interview with James Vowles, he's constantly trying to get an argumentative...
Yeah, it was investigative journalism almost.
Because he's going, so why did you do this? And James goes into starting to explain Williams, what parts they did and didn't bring. And he goes, yeah, but that doesn't say why you've dropped Logan. And he goes, all right, I was going to get into it, but I'll get into it now then. Because
he was kind of taken back, wasn't he, that Ted was being that aggressive?
Yeah, and it's a valid point. And he said, look, I need the points for this team, and ignoring last season, ignoring this season, on paper, who is the better, more experienced driver that has done most for this team? It is Albon. Now, ironically, did Albon score points this weekend?
Came 11th.
Okay. All right, but we'll throw it out there. Would Sargent have come 11th?
No.
Okay, so it's understandable. Obviously, everyone will have a go at him because it backfired. But if Albon turned around and finished 6th, we're all going, all right, fair play, we'll hold our hands up. And that's what Ted would have been doing as well.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't like the way Ted was trying to get an argumentative response from someone who is probably one of the most cool, level-headed men in F1 ever.
Yeah, I love James Vowles. He's brilliant.
And the way he had, I mean, he was throwing like technical words around. Like I was actually getting lost in his words. It was like I was reading an article or something like that. I was just getting lost in his interview. I was like, this is great. I could watch this all day. But it's the way he goes around it with so much professionalism, and he actually explains every single decision in chronological order, and then backing that up as well. Like, there's been other times that Team Principal has done something absolutely outlandish. Like when they replaced De Vries at RB, it was, we weren't happy with his performance, chucked under the rug. It wasn't like, this is why what we think is going to be better, even though we always a PR move anyway. But the fact that he explains every single decision in chronological order and then every single follow-up question that Ted has, it was like, okay, yeah, fair, you got some respect, but I just didn't like how Ted was constantly trying to get an argument out of him. Like,
it did take me by surprise as well. It did take me by surprise. Did you see, though, it was Ted's birthday, so they put his head in the cake.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was probably a bit, he was probably a bit not happy about that, but come on.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Will. I was taken aback by it, but I still love Ted. But yeah, I was shocked by it myself. But really, fair play to Logan Sargent, because he could have gone on a rampage and slaughtered the team. Like Max Verstappen came out and said, if that happened to me, there would be no other car for my teammate to drive, which I thought, in a way, that kind of just sums up we were talking about his maturity of the week, and I said to you boys, like, it's hidden by the fact he's not challenged. That comment, I'm sorry, but that comment of, if that happened in my team, then my teammate wouldn't have a car to drive because I'd basically not allow it type of thing, or I'd smash it up or whatever. It's like, what was the need for that comment, whether it's a joke or not?
I think what was it Logan said? I think Logan said it's probably the toughest point he's had in his career, which is understandable. It's like, it's your car. Why are you being taken out of it when you haven't caused an accident? So I can see both sides of it, but I think the fact that James Vowles had the kind of best way to describe it, the cojones. The fact that he had the cojones to make that.
Nearly, Ollie. Nearly, Ollie. You nearly said it there.
The fact that he had that bravery to go, you know what, we need points. I'm going to take the best driver out. Take the driver that's probably not going
to
take the driver that might not get points out and put the driver that might get points in. It shows that he's not afraid to make those decisions, which I think is, especially for such a young team principal as well, is really it shows a lot of goodness.
I'm just so pleased and grateful that Alex Albon crossed the finish line, because if he'd been that car as well,
can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
The Williams mechanics are back at the base going, Jesus Christ. I tell you what, though, it does. I did say it in the group chat. It does make you question, why do they not have another chassis? I put it in the group chat. I was like, are Williams broke or something? Or do they just forget to bring parts?
They were behind. They were behind from testing.
Yeah, but there's being behind from testing. There's forgetting the bare minimum. Come on. It's a chassis.
So was Alex's spare car just an engines and wheels?
Yeah, exactly. It's just... It's like a
Do you remember back in the day when every team always had a spare car?
The T car.
Yeah.
That's basically what... Sorry. That's basically what Logan Sargent is to Alex Albon. He is the T car, let's be honest.
Just very quickly, talking of Americans, and Will, you mentioned about finances just a second ago. I was sitting downstairs earlier, just before we jumped onto the pod, and I stuck on the Sky Sports F1 channel just to see what was going on, and I totally forgot that IndyCar's already started. And there was IndyCar on today. Now, I don't know if you...
I need to watch the highlights.
Oh, no.
You know what this is?
You don't need to watch the highlights. I'm going to explain what it is, because there's nothing interesting that really happened in the race. It was pretty boring, but if they brought this to Formula One, it would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
absolutely love it. It's so interesting. So it is called, I can't remember the name of the company, but it's called the $1 Million Challenge. So what happens is they have loads of tests and they have qualifying, and then they have 2 heats where they split the grid in half, and the top 6 from each half of the grid then goes to a final. So it's like 2 semi-finals. They go to a final, and the winner of that gets $1 million, and then the prize fund goes down the further down you go.
Yeah. And
How
it's
cool
not.
is that?
It's you don't score points for the it's non-championship event. It's not.
It's a side quest.
Yeah. So imagine in Formula One, it wouldn't be on the calendar as a Grand Prix race. Like officially in the history of the sport, it wouldn't be an official Grand Prix like FIA race. It'd just be like a side thing, but still get as much media coverage, and you get £1 million if you win.
But could you imagine that? Could you? And that's the thing as well. I think this track they don't actually use in the actual F1, actual IndyCar calendar.
IndyCar, yeah.
So imagine if they went to like the Hockenheim Ring or Sepang, and they done this. How cool would that be? Like, literally, like you just like what I was thinking is we should propose this to the FIA. What you do is you get a hat with all the drivers' names in. You take their names out, randomly allocated, and put them into 2 separate pots. In those pots, you then have the drivers. You don't have qualifying.
There's 20 drivers in there. So there's 20. There's team. Do you say there's what? The grid split up into what? 8? Did you say 2?
6 and 6.
6 and 6. So
No. So right. So IndyCar, I think there's 24. So I think it's split into 2 sets of 12. And then the top 6 from each of those 12 then go through into a final.
Okay, can we split it up? So there's say for example it's split into 2 sets of 8. So split up in 2 sets. So there's 16.
Wait, are you talking about F1?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
it's 20
you do 2 sets of 10 because 20 drivers. And then the top 5, and the top 5 from each.
Oh yeah, true.
How cool would that be? You go to you go to a different circuit every year, but we don't get told. They just arrive at a random circuit and they say, "We're live here in Sepang for the $1 Million Challenge," and then you have 2 randomly allocated.
Or they reveal it the week before, and it's
reveal it the week before.
Ticket for it.
Yeah, but then as well, one thing I want.
Actually, that'd be an absolute nightmare. But
one thing I want, they don't do qualifying. They randomly allocate the grid slots as well. Like, this could be incredible.
Well, it would be incredible. My biggest dream, I've always said, is I would love like F1 to be in the Olympics, and you'd have like Team GB, Team Spain, and you just have a race.
F1 World Cup.
Yeah, I've always said I'd love that.
They do have that, but they have it as like a feeder series version.
I know.
It was held at Macau last year, which we end up talking about on the pod because I said there's a whole section where they can't overtake because it's that tight, so they just yellow flag that section.
Yeah, no, but that would be. I would love Lewis Hamilton and I don't know Lando Norris, or let's say whatever kind of Team GB, and then you've got Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, Team Spain.
Talking of Spain. Alex Palou was the winner, so he walked away with $1 million, which I think I heard on commentary was the 7th time he's done that. So he's got 7 million just from winning a shootout.
On top of his contract.
Like what?
How to start racing in IndyCar?
apart from the pit stop challenge at the Indy 500 weekend, that is the most American thing I think I've ever heard of.
Yeah, but
this is why I love IndyCar. It's just so ridiculously stupid that the things that they propose aren't even fathomable. Bernie Ecclestone is probably loving watching IndyCar from his prison cell.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's true. He's not actually in the prison though, is he? Did you remember seeing him do you remember seeing him in Sao Paulo last year? And he went to Martin. He went along the lines of, "I don't know how I'm here."
Yeah.
By the way, can I just give you another stat? Can I give you another stat? Because briefly before we mentioned about Albon, we mentioned about Hamilton, and that Verstappen and Hamilton failed to finish the same race for only the 2nd time in Formula One history.
Monza.
Monza. Yeah, I was going to say, do you know Monza
Well,
2021?
both of them or just the last one?
No, both of them. Both of them failed to finish the race for just the second time in their careers, as in those two together.
You meant there was 2 more before that.
No. So there, but no, the IndyCar was is a madness.
I mean,
Yeah.
the racing wasn't that exciting, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I watched it and it was like, this is pretty naff. But the whole idea of whoever wins this is just going to get given $1 million. It's like,
Yeah, brilliant.
sign me up.
I know it is brilliant. I want to get your opinions on something, please.
Go ahead.
Now, give you a few stats, then I'm going to give you the question. So, as we know, Carlos Sainz won the Australian Grand Prix and Charles Leclerc came second. So, the last Ferrari 1-2 in this decade was the 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix, where Leclerc won from Sainz.
Leclerc.
Yeah, Ferrari have only scored 4 previous 1-2s in the last 14 years. I know. Can you believe that? That's crazy. And this was Sainz's 3rd career win, but it was his first ever win where he didn't start on pole. Now, my question to you is, if there weren't team orders and Leclerc had won today's race, he would currently be leading the championship. Do you think Ferrari made the right decision by telling Leclerc to fend off of Sainz? Or do you think it's too early on in the season? I've got an opinion, but I'll wait to hear from both of you first. Ollie, I'll ask you first.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Thank you so much.
I mean, you know what my opinion is on Charles Leclerc anyway. I don't think he's world championship contender quality.
That still blows my mind, though, every time I hear it.
I know. I think
we're all entitled to our own opinions.
But I don't know. I think I said it in... Oh, it must have been Bahrain because he didn't race in Saudi Arabia. But I said it after Bahrain. I said that Carlos so far has been driving like he's got... it's like he's got a bit between his teeth. He's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm fighting for me and me only. And I think Carlos would have won the race. Same as Saudi Arabia. I reckon he would have won the race regardless of team orders, to be perfectly honest. But it would have been really interesting to see if there were team orders, or if there weren't team orders, sorry, if the McLarens then would have jumped in on the act, because the Ferraris would have been fighting. And could you imagine if Oscar Piastri won? That would have been
amazing. Because the thing is, an Australian hasn't been on the podium, I think, since like Jack Brabham. Obviously, Ricciardo was on the podium a couple of years back, I think 2018, but he was later disqualified. Or 2014. 2014. Yeah, it was 2014. Because then that leads me into another stat. Lando Norris's P3 was McLaren's first Melbourne podium in 10 years, when Kevin Magnussen came P2 on his debut, and Button got bumped up to P3 because of Ricciardo's disqualification.
Ah.
But also as well, Norris has now got 14 career podiums. So he passes Nick Heidfeld's record of most podiums without a win. And have you seen the video I've sent you on Twitter? Have a live reaction. Live reaction, please.
Ben, fill it, start speaking.
So this is a video that I've sent to you because I found it quite crazy that PR-trained Lando would give a response like that. Will, what are your thoughts?
The old flying bird, didn't he?
He did give the old flying bird. What are your thoughts, William?
He was pointing to the sky, as Kimi Räikkönen did a few years ago in Austria, wasn't it?
You're struggling to find it, Will?
Oh, wait, what did you say?
He,
When are you going to race, Lando?
Yeah, but have you watched the video?
Yeah, he sticks his middle finger up.
Yeah, well, cheers, Will. But what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a valid question, to be perfectly honest.
It comes somewhat.
When is he going to win a race? Like, you can, you're all well and good getting podiums, but if you're not winning, then you're not winning. Like,
team orders at McLaren as well this weekend.
Yeah, I think that was wrong. I should have done that.
Well, I don't know, mate. I think that Piastri wouldn't have been able to have. They were on different strategies.
Yeah, true. It's Piastri at home. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't see it from that perspective, really.
Go on then, Will. What's your opinion on Ben's question?
What was the question? Whether they should have.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say what's my question was.
Whether they should have swapped Leclerc or Sainz or not.
Yeah.
Whether they should have given team orders or not.
Basically, well, what I'm trying to say to you is if they hadn't and Leclerc had potentially gone on to win, he would be leading the World Championship as we speak.
Oh. Yeah, no. I was just where we were saying, but I wonder if you were saying, do I agree with them not doing it or think they should have done it?
Well, it's up to you, however you want to answer.
Oh, no, I'm happy they didn't do it because Sainz is so much more of a challenge to Max than Leclerc is. Also, Leclerc's a bottle job. Leclerc is generally a one
trick pony.
A one lap pace merchant.
Run out of breath.
He doesn't have good race pace compared to Sainz, or he really doesn't have any good racecraft compared to Sainz anyway.
Wow.
Oh, seriously?
So effectively, are you telling me that he's Lance Stroll in red?
No.
Because I was going to say, if that's the way you're going, Will, your
bank account. Shush.
If I was going to say, if that's the way we were going with this podcast, then I was going to have to take a step back. That's outrageous.
No. Leclerc, don't get me wrong. Leclerc is one of the great drivers on the grid. Let's not beat around the bush. But in terms of
the fastest, I've said he's the fastest.
Yeah, in terms of one lap, yeah. But when it's not a one lap,
over 1 lap.
58 lap race. Well, 57 if you're George Russell. But I don't see how. One, it's too early in the season anyway, and later on. So what? The only reason why Leclerc's ahead of Sainz in the championship is Sainz lost half of his stomach. So I guarantee you, if Sainz was actually racing in Jeddah, he would have finished ahead of Leclerc. Sainz is going to finish ahead of Leclerc this year.
Sainz is having a great season.
Sainz is on a title charge. He's on a title charge.
This season, we're going for the title charge.
Second half of the season, 4th race in, we're doing a title charge. Promise you.
I really just hope that this isn't a Sergio Perez thing of like good first couple races and then you just disappear. Like I really, really I'm sorry, but I'm not convinced there is going to be a title fight this year. But I still want people who would start well to be able to finish well.
Sainz overtook. People say that Max Sainz only won because Max DNF. Sainz actually overtook Max within the first lap and a half.
I know. Well, I watched it. But can I give you another stat? Every 1-2 in Melbourne, every time there's been a 1-2 in Melbourne, that team that have finished 1-2 have gone on to win the championship.
The second driver has also always gone to win the championship as well.
Wow. Yeah, Mercedes 2019 was the last time.
You're telling me Charles going to win the championship?
No.
I want it.
No, I'd rather have Sainz win it.
Well, I'd rather anyone win it but Max. I've said this.
Slobbering over that story. That's what you want.
I'm even, I think deep down as well, I'd even be content with a Perez World Drivers' Championship. But it wouldn't happen. But, I think just because it is different. It's not like Mercedes when it was either Hamilton or Bottas.
Talking of different, I think one thing that's key to note really from today is obviously the winning margin as they crossed the line was only 1.2 seconds.
No, but come on,
obviously it was the BSD, so whatever. But I also want to say, Sainz at periods in the race had a huge gap.
Yeah,
and we've said previously this year when Max has had that, we're like, oh yeah, it's just boring. Like he's gone off and won it already. But the thing with Sainz is I think. The thing with Sainz, as we said before we started the podcast, actually, is that even though he was winning by that margin, it was kind of like you didn't know if he was going to win. Whereas when Max that far ahead, you're like, yeah, he's won. So I think that's why, even though it...
That shows, though, the outstanding nature of Max, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I think, I think once he's got that gap, he's just like, that's the thing. It's now shown, unless he has an issue with his car, he can't be stopped.
This is the thing, though, right? But like you said there, it was the case. You still 5 laps, 10 laps, whatever to go. It was a case of Ferrari's car could still go bang, and it's whereas with Red Bull, you don't really ever think that. However, even if some people with 5, 10, 15 laps were going, oh, well, Sainz has obviously won this now, or how great is that Carlos Sainz is winning the race?
Yeah.
You know, the only guy that seems to be able to stop Max Verstappen when he goes on these long winning runs. It's nice feeling. I don't care if it's Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, Norris, Piastri, Stroll, Alonso. I don't actually care. Just someone new.
It's not the hero we deserve. It's the hero we need.
Respect.
That's what it is.
So true.
Ben, obviously, that gap became so small at the end because of a VSC, but why was that VSC brought out?
Well, the VSC was brought out, and actually as well, have you heard this team radio?
Yes, I have.
Terrifying.
Terrifying, isn't it? Terrifying. But last lap, Russell was pushing Alonso for P7. P7. No, P6. P6.
P6.
Yeah, P6. He was pushing. He was P7. Sorry, and he was pushing for P6. And that turn we were talking about earlier. What turn is that, Ollie? What is that turn? 10? Did you say turn 10?
Yeah.
No.
Turn 6.
I was going to say turn 6. Yeah, because the new configuration track they've taken out all of the weaving and everything. And it does look. It did look like Alonso brake tested, but not really not in a kind of Jeddah 2021 fashion. More of kind of just lift and coast.
I've seen. So I'm so stupid that I didn't send you this.
I've seen this one.
I was mindlessly scrolling through TikTok earlier, and I saw. You know what they used to do on the broadcast for F1 when they used to have the little circular graphic which showed speed, the gears, and then it showed how much throttle and how much brake they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
It actually showed that going into the corner, Alonso braked, stepped back on the throttle, braked again, and then put the throttle down as he went through the corner. So it's not a fact of, oh, okay, he might have brake checked him, he might have lifted and coasted. He did brake twice going into that corner.
Apparently,
the thing that I find really, really stupid is that Aston Martin has a Mercedes engine. They can look at the telemetry of the engine and the inputs and outputs of what's happened to the engine, so they can just get the sheets and go, look, we can literally show you proof of what he's done.
Saying that, Ollie, I was on TikTok earlier, and I found
reliable.
I've got Fernando Alonso here.
And I saw Alonso's onboard in his radio, and apparently on the final lap he says he's having struggle with his throttle body to the point where it wouldn't open for him.
No, but this is Fernando
Alonso
we're talking about.
He said that on the final lap, and no, I actually saw this as well. He made his car look like it had problems as he was going past George Russell when George's car was on its side. I don't know. I think it's Fernando playing his mind games.
I think you might be right there. I think he might be up to his old tricks. But yeah, George Russell's crash was massive because, as of course we mentioned, he came back onto the track, flipped over his front left that had come off. So he's then on his side. And it was a very scary moment for him.
It's a bone-chilling radio message as well.
Yeah, very.
Screaming for a red flag, pretty much.
Absolutely. And which, by the way, they didn't bring out. I kind of get why, because you wouldn't restart the race, I don't think, with one lap.
Yeah, but I think
still, it's the principle of just neutralising the race there and then for safety purposes.
I want to make a comment on that, and I saw this as a tweet from someone, and I wish I could say who it was, but I forgot the name. But when it comes to incidents like that in IndyCar, there is someone there within 30 seconds, pretty much, checking the driver is okay. They've neutralised the race, and they've made sure that the incident is secured, the driver's okay. And you've got to think, that's in America with these huge trucks that they use for the safety car stuff. We've got the Aston Martin DBX as a medical car,
safety car, medical car, course car.
You could easily get that Aston Martin to that scene, neutralise the race, and be like, okay, we need to make sure that the driver's okay. It just seems like that incident with the FIA, especially with everything going on at the minute, I mean, we don't really know too much into it, and I don't think we'll probably end up talking about it on this episode. But it just makes you think, do they really have that much consideration for driver safety? They're leaving George out there on his side in the middle of the track, not knowing what he's doing, when he's screaming for a red flag.
What was scary about it as well is because he's up like that underside of the car is the whole shell of the car, the exoskeleton, it's crash proof. The top
The
of
survival
it is,
cell.
yeah, the survivor cell. The bottom of it is obviously, and also they're sitting there. They're literally sitting on the floor, which is why they feel the bouncing so much. And it very much gave me flashbacks of the whole Hugh Bear thing. Is if you hit that car at the wrong angle, like imagine someone comes round, if they hit that car at the wrong angle, go straight into the underside of George like that.
Don't forget as well, George Russell was the director of the GPDA as well, Grand Prix Drivers Association. So like he probably have a pretty big say on it. What I did find quite surprising is that in his media pen press conference after, he didn't actually understand why him and Alonso were going to the stewards. He didn't think Alonso had done anything. He thought he'd made the mistake himself. Yeah. So for Alonso to then be given a drive-through penalty, effectively a 20-second penalty, which then dropped him down to P8, very surprising.
You do see though on the onboard when all of a sudden he gets so close to Alonso, he kind of goes like that, which makes him. And I don't think he's registered that he's done that. It's his own mistake.
Yeah.
But he's done that because then Alonso's here. And I think that.
Do you think it's dirty air?
No, I think it's panic. I think, oh God, that car is a lot closer than what I thought it would be.
I think one thing that I want to note as well is what I find really interesting, and Ben, you're probably going to hate me for this for bringing it up, but I reckon you've seen this as well. If you know if you've got that reaction, but take us back to Saudi Arabia 2021. Max Verstappen brake checks Lewis Hamilton, only gets a 10-second penalty. Fernando Alonso does the same thing, gets a 20-second /drive-through penalty. And Max's was a lot worse. Where's the consistency?
They have crunched down on penalties this year, because that's like, I still think Magnussen's 10-second penalty last week was harsh for going off and overtaking. I think was it like Albon?
Yeah.
Or no. It wasn't out. He had contact with Albon. That was a penalty, but the overtake on whoever, that was harsh. But they are cracking down on penalty. By the way, as well, he's got 3 penalty points for that on his license, Alonso.
Yeah, mental. And the guy, and who is it? Yeah, didn't even get.
Yeah, exactly. But
he turned into someone.
that leads me into, so obviously by George Russell coming out of the points, that bumped up Kevin Magnussen. So what a weekend for Haas. So Nico Hülkenberg was P9 for Haas and has now scored in the last 4 Australian Grand Prix appearances that he's had. So shout out to him. Hülkenberg has scored in back-to-back races as well after going 20 races without a Grand Prix point. So that's massive for his confidence.
Damn.
And Kevin Magnussen's P10 means that both Haas cars scored points for the first time since Austria 2022, when Mick Schumacher came P6 and Magnussen came P8.
Wow.
So it's a massive weekend for Haas. And
yeah, huge.
They are now up to 3 points this weekend. They're now up to 4 points. That is huge, especially with the like how the top 5 are so kind of big this year. You know, that's massive. But I also should mention Yuki Tsunoda and RB, because he finished P8, moved up to P7. So that's 6 points that he takes away from this weekend. Daniel Ricciardo, who?
Yeah, P14.
I said this in our preview episode for the season. I said that Tsunoda will be more likely to get the Red Bull seat, but I mean, he probably won't. But
no, that's Carlos Sainz's.
I just, can we please get rid of Danny Rick now? Please, his time's been and gone. He's just a PR move now. Get him gone.
Yeah, I did.
It genuinely annoys me so much that he's taking up a seat. It's like, we know you're only here for PR. You're not going to get the Red Bull seat. Liam Lawson literally outperformed you when he was in that same car. Yes, you weren't racing together, but he's done a better job in that car than you ever have since coming back into the sport. And Liam Lawson's never driven an F1 car before.
Yeah, I did see something that said, like, along the lines of, he drove 2 configuration of McLaren cars, and of course, yes, he did get the 1 race win, but it was said it was the cars then, it was the car now. When are we actually going to have a serious conversation about the fact that it may be the driver?
Yeah.
You know, so that's it's not looking good for him. I don't know, but Yuki Tsunoda, I just wanted to shout him out because I think he knows that he's got a lot to work on off the on the track, but not driving related. And but he's putting his foot down on the track, absolutely for sure. Another team I want to mention is Stake, because I think us lot could do better pit stops, to be honest.
Well, my brother said that they're probably better off doing it the old way that they used to, with the old hammer and whacking the thing on.
Yeah, but I didn't realise that they have actually got a wheel nut issue. That's why they take so long. So when they've built the car, they've got the configurations wrong for the wheel nuts. So that's why a Stake pit stop, Sauber pit stop, sorry, should really now be about 3-4 seconds. But still, they had another 41 again this weekend.
Oh,
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is, isn't it? It's terrible, but there you have it. I want to go into my favourite segment now, which is predictions.
I don't know why I'm cheering because I'm wrong.
Should we do driver of the weekend first?
Yeah, let's do driver of the weekend.
Well, okay. Well, mine. I will always give you mine of who I vote for on the app, and I did vote for Carlos Sainz because I just thought 2 weeks ago, appendix surgery, right? Could barely even walk, right? Can still barely even walk now. I don't know if you've seen the video post race when they do the team picture and spray. Everyone normally runs away from the champion. Guy's limping off.
Talking of that, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but how amazing is the Italian national anthem?
Oh yes!
Good.
My god, I love it so much.
At the minute, because I don't know why, but I really want to spend a portion of my life out in Italy.
I'm going to Milan tomorrow.
Really?
Late Como on Tuesday.
You're living my dream, mate. But I've been learning Italian for a couple of weeks now.
Oh my god, no way!
Because I want to go and live out there for a few months, maybe a year or whatever.
Well, I'm learning.
What was that Ferrari?
I'm learning French.
Pit stop.
French for Le Mans, yeah.
You actually?
Yeah. Seriously, because
unbelievable stuff.
I know a fair bit. I can interpret French from what people are saying. I can't speak it fluently enough yet, but I can understand it. So I can understand what French people are saying.
I can speak Yap.
I think we all can. This is why we do this.
Japanese, yeah.
I can. This is a fun fact for you. I can understand French. I can genuinely understand French. I just can't.
Bonjour, Willy.
I just can't speak it fluently yet, but I can understand French.
But
and that's the best point to be at.
I'm working with 2 maestros here.
As soon as you get to a point where that's the first step, understanding what people are saying to you in that language, you're clear.
Yeah.
That's speaking it.
Yeah, so I've been learning Italian. I really want to go to Italy, but I absolutely love the Italian national anthem. So much so that me and Vinny came upstairs this morning, stuck it on the TV in here, and I fell asleep again after being asleep on the sofa. And I heard the Italian national anthem come on, and I was half asleep, and I was kind of humming it. So Finney now has a video of me, half asleep, lying there, pretty much dead to the world, but I'm humming the Italian national anthem while still asleep.
Put that video in that nasty track.
But yeah, anyway,
sorry, I love it. I absolutely love it. If you want goosebumps, go to the opening of the Euro 2020 when Bocelli sings. Oh my god, it's incredible.
But yeah, my driver of the day, Carlos Sainz as well, for pretty much all the same reasons as what you said, Ben. Go on, we'll do something different, please, for the content.
I'm gonna go with Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah.
6 in the top,
like it.
And I think that he just continues to outperform the PR merchant.
Fair enough.
Well said.
Okay. Prediction time.
Okay.
So, I can confirm. again, I need to apologise because I didn't do what I said I was going to do, where I was going to break apart qualifying and race so I could actually tell you what you did and didn't get right. Well, I can tell you off the top of my head. So, in total, this weekend, I scored 1 point. Ollie scored 2 points.
Yes.
And Will scored 3 points.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
the total after round 3, but technically round 2 because we didn't do Bahrain, in third place with 5 points is Ollie. In second place with 6 points is Ben. And in first place is Will with 8 points. Now, don't go too soon, man. Don't go too soon. But what I will tell you is this weekend, my 1 point came from predicting. Was it Lando Norris? Did he start fourth? Or was it?
Yes.
No, Leclerc started fourth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Where? Oh, was
No,
it?
no. Perez started fourth.
Oh God.
I'm trying to think where my 1 point came from.
Right, the Instagram app. Hold on a minute.
No, this is what I've got. I've got it here. I've got it here. But so I'm reading them off. But I can't remember the starting order again. Was it? Because I went Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Norris, Perez. So or did I get it in the race? I had.
So Ben, what do you need? Do you need the race results or the qualifying?
No. No, the starting grid, please. Can you tell me what the starting grid was? Trying to remember where I got my 1 point from. I definitely did get one. I promise.
I know where you get a point per driver, don't you?
Yes, you get a point per correct one, but if you get all 5, you get 10 points.
So the top 5 starting grid was Verstappen, Sainz, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri.
Okay, maybe it's the race then.
Didn't I?
And the race result. The race results were Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, Piastri, Perez.
Hang on a minute. Sorry. So where I did? Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry.
Has Ben not got a point?
Hang on a minute. Sorry, no, because
competition. Hold on a minute.
Maybe not starting because hang on, Perez had a penalty, didn't he? So people got bumped up. So
Yeah.
Actual qualifying was Norris fourth.
He was.
Yes.
Okay, there we go then. So there's where I got my point. I thought I was right. I got a point for Norris fourth, but he moved up on the grid because he got the job on a technicality.
Do we take it?
No, it's qualifying predictions. It's not race starting predictions.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay, so Ollie, your 2 points this weekend were because you got Max Verstappen on pole, and you got Piastri 5th in qualifying.
I'll take it.
And Will's 3 points.
Sainz win, Verstappen pole.
There, so you got 4th for Norris in qualifying. Did Piastri come? Yeah, Piastri 5th in qualifying, and then you got Sainz to win.
Did I? Who did I have on pole? Leclerc.
Yeah.
Yes. Which, by the way, you had Leclerc on pole, and then you had him to finish 5th.
Yeah, because it's Leclerc. Do you not hear what I said earlier?
Well, okay, fair enough. So there is your order after. Yeah, so Will, myself, and Ollie. So good fun.
I'm actually loving this. It's giving me to think about it. It's brilliant. I love it. It's brilliant.
It's good. I love the graphic for it as well. It's like really kind of in your face. Colours will work. Huh?
You bet on Formula One.
We don't.
Yeah, of course
I'm not advocate for betting on this.
Yeah, like I wouldn't.
Discuss it privately, but not.
Tenfold hacker on Formula One. Ollie. Ollie, tenfold hacker.
But no, like, mate, honestly, like, I'm pretty sure on some apps you can literally go all the way to like through to who's going to set the first lap in practice. I'm pretty sure there's. But no, all jokes aside,
this is research purpose now. Research purpose.
All jokes aside, that was the Australian Grand Prix. Unless anyone has anything to mention, I'm just so glad that we got something like this, and it was
oh my god,
early in the season.
Oh my god, you can do finishing positions? Oh my god! Mate, you can win to win outright. You could Max Verstappen every week, surely.
Yeah, but literally, you're winning like 16 pence. You put quid on, you win £1.16.
Season matchups as well.
No, but on a race weekend, when the race weekend's actually in session, I'm pretty sure that like practice, you can do like silly bets, like who's gonna set the first lap on mediums.
So here, just for you, so you have for the Japanese Grand Prix, you have finishing positions to win the race outright and to win the podium. For the entire championship, you can do to win outright season matchups without Max Verstappen. That's a genuine category, is without Max Verstappen.
What?
Honestly,
so that's who's going to win the most points, or
what? No, who's going to win the race without Max? Is that what
without Max Verstappen? Oh my! Without Max Verstappen, who's going to win in each way 1 to 3? It's like horse racing, but without Max. Ollie. Hold on. Do you want to? Right, hold on. I need to read you out some odds here. Sergio Perez 4 to 6, Leclerc 7 to 2, Sainz 6 to 1, Alonso 25 to 1. This is each way. So this is 1 to 3.
1 for the kicks I love.
Hamilton 33 to 1. Lance Stroll 1,000 to 1. Ollie, Valtteri Bottas 2,500 to 1.
What about Logan Sargent?
2,500 to 1. Alex Albon.
So wait, hold on. They're putting Logan
Sargent on the same winger
as Valtteri Bottas. That's what I love to see.
Gets better than that. Esteban Ocon 2,500 to 1. Lando Norris 16 to 1. Daniel Ricciardo 250 to 1. To finish on the podium.
PR merchant though.
Oh, if this doesn't go as a segment, we'll find out you can bet on Formula One. I swear to God.
Ben, I override what I say earlier about getting a Crystal Palace hat. I'm getting a Daniel Ricciardo hat. I do not want him in the sport anymore. I'm sick of him.
Guys, this is another Snapchat story. You can bet on Formula One.
Listen.
To end it, I think we'll leave Will to his enjoyment of the betting of Formula One, and we will wrap the podcast up there. I'm probably going to get back to sleep again in a minute because I am knackered.
I am too.
Hacker on finishing positions.
Right, we've lost Will. We've lost Will to the unfortunate scam of gambling. But thank you, everyone, for listening to today's podcast, episode 4 for round 3 in Melbourne. Please go and check out all our socials, Trackside Pod, F1, Trackside Pod.
No, never mind, actually. I'm not going to say that.
Please go check it all out. We really, really do love and appreciate all the support we're getting on Instagram Reels and TikTok. And we love engaging with comments as well that you put in, whether they be in agreement or disagreement.
We also love the interaction as well. Like on the other day, the one I posted about waking up at 4 a.m. Do you know the amount of interaction I got off of that in the comments about people saying like,
it's brilliant. Exactly.
I love it, honestly.
It's brilliant. And we love to see it, and it's kind of what we're aiming for. We want to build a platform and we want you guys to come along with us. So thank you so much for listening. Australian Grand Prix, you served us something special. Thank you so much for that. And otherwise, boys, if you have something else to say, I will see you two again for Suzuka. Another early rise.
When I'm a multi-millionaire for predicting the...
Rise and shine.
And Will's going to be betting on the ADAC Formula 4 series next week.
That £1 million thing in IndyCar, I'm betting on that. That's what you want. Come on.
No, just get in the seat. But yes, thank you all for listening.
Oh my God, there's a rabbit hole. Oh my God.
I'll just stop this before it gets out of hand. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Check out all our socials, Trackside Podcast F1. And we will
gamble responsibly, kids, please.
We will be back for
kids. They should be gambling. That's such terrible, terrible insight.
See you all in 2 weeks' time.